commissionings were well designed, well apportioned to showcase infrastructural development in the FCT and to commemorate the 3rd year anniversary of His Excellency President Bola Tinubu. Today's event, the commissioning of the FCT High Court Judges' Quarters, is truly a beautiful one. I love beautiful houses, but a house has no character if it is not well built. And all will agree with me that what we see before us today are truly gorgeous houses to behold. No cost was spared to give the FCT High Court judges quarters that are befitting to enable them carry out their assignment efficiently. The contractor details to Nigeria Limited understood the assignment and delivered clean lines, great ambience, and houses that truly speak to the quality and standards of the FCT under the leadership of the Honorable Minister of FCT, Ezenwo Nyesom Wike. And that entity in the FCT responsible for planning, development, and maintenance of infrastructure and public facilities is the FCDA. They have supervised and engaged the contractor to do the needful as standards of the FCT. On behalf of the FCT administration, welcome with me the Executive Secretary FCDA, Engineer Richard Yonana Dauda, to give us an overview of this project. Please encourage him, his walk is long. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, here represented by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice of the Federation, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, ranking members of the National Assembly that are here, both serving and former, and other members of the National Assembly, the Honorable Minister of FCT, His Excellency Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, CON, the Chief Justice of the FCT High Court, Justice Honorable Justice Hussaini Baba Yusuf, and other justices and heads of courts that are here, Area Council Chairman, all other top government officials and functionaries that are present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, kindly permit me to align with the well-established protocol by the Director of Ceremony as I present a technical overview of the construction of 20 judges' quarters for the FCT High Court judges in Katampe district in Abuja. Your Excellency, in line with the mandate of providing public infrastructure and public buildings in the Federal Capital City, the FCT administration awarded the contract for the design and construction of 40 judges' quarters at Katampe district, Abuja. 20 of these are specifically for the judges of the FCT High Court. Your Excellency, the project is aimed at providing secured, functional, and comfortable residential accommodation for judicial officers to enhance the delivery of justice, which is critical for the sustenance of law in any society. The welfare of judicial officers has a strong correlation with the efficiency of delivery of justice in our nation. The contract for the design and construction of judges' quarters in Katampe was awarded to Messrs. Details to Dot Development Nigeria Limited in September 2024, and work commenced immediately. The scope of works for the project includes the construction of 20 fully furnished 5-bedroom duplexes with boys' quarters for each of the houses within the FCT High Court Judges Estate. Other amenities within the estates include event center, neighborhood shop, gatehouse, generator houses and with generators, general landscaping with a recreational ground, and perimeter fencing. Other estate infrastructure like asphalt paved access road, walkways, electricity power supply, water regulation are also provided. Your Excellency, the project has been fully completed and delivered in line with standards and specifications and ready for commissioning. We thank the President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, CON, for the privilege to be part of this project. Thank you all for coming, and God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Our special guest of honor, sir. The ESFCDA has already given us the information we need to know concerning the fact that these houses have been delivered to standard and specification. Everyone has their niche in life, and so it is with construction. Inside construction, there are architects, builders, engineers, and those who get involved in the day-to-day, bricklayers, masons, painters, electricians, and so on. And then for interiors, there are interior decorators whose job is to make the house a home. A structure is beautiful, but it's even more so when the interior is special. These houses are truly special in and out, truly pleasing to the eye. To talk us through the ambience of these houses, please welcome with me the contractors to the project and the MD of Details 2. Development Nigeria Limited, architect Akko Adakboyi, who will make his way now and tell us how these lines became these lines and what it is that you would see as you walk around the establishment. Welcome.
The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, ably represented by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, SAN. Members of the National Assembly, serving and former, the Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Nyesom Ezenwike, CON, the Honorable Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Honorable Justice Hussaini Baba Yusuf, all heads of court, distinguished invited guests, members of press, ladies and gentlemen. For want of time, please permit me to stand on the already established protocols. My name is Architect Akko Adakboyi, FNIA, Managing Director of Details 2. Development Nigeria Limited, a homegrown Nigerian construction company. Today, we complete an assignment that began in October 2024. The 40-unit Judges Housing Development was conceived under His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda to provide befitting homes for the judiciary. A few weeks ago, we commissioned the first two sections, the Court of Appeal and the Federal High Court. We now hand over the third and final section of the 40-unit development, the FCT High Court Judges' Quarters. With this commissioning, the initial mandate given to us is complete. At the groundbreaking, we gave our word. Residencies built to the highest standards of quality, comfort, and functionality. Across 40 units and 3 of Nigerian courts, that word has been honored in full. Details 2. has delivered. Distinguished guests, the FCT High Court section is the largest of the 3, comprising 20 fully furnished 5-bedroom duplexes, 20 fully furnished 3-bedroom domestic quarters, dedicated power and utility infrastructure, gatehouse and security infrastructure, a dedicated event center and corner shop. Each duplex offers spacious main, private and family lounges, a dedicated study, 5 en-suite bedrooms, a modern kitchen, an ante-room, a gym, 3 en-suite domestic rooms, and a parking for up to 6 vehicles, all within a secure and comfortable environment. For nearly 2 years, this project has provided steady work and income for many hardworking Nigerian men and women. Every one of them can look at what stands here today and say with pride, I was involved. A development of this scale is completed well only when the client refuses to accept less. The Honorable Minister of FCT, Barrister Nyesom Ezenwike, CON, was exactly that client. From the first foundations to the final handover, he visited this site frequently and held everyone to standards now on display. We thank him sincerely for entrusting an indigenous company with a project of this importance. 40 units, 3 courts, 1 development, now fully delivered. We are deeply honored that Details 2. was chosen for this assignment. I'm prouder still on the manner in which it has been completed. On behalf of Details 2. Development Nigeria Limited, I thank His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, the FCDA, the judiciary, and every individual whose effort brought this development to completion. God bless the Federal Capital Territory. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
Thank you, Architect Adakboyi. These are the contractors to the project, details to dot, and they have explicated what is to be expected when you walk into these buildings. A point of note is that when you have a client who refuses to accept less, that is the way that the FCT minister is described, coming to the site several times and ensuring that everything is done to specification along with his team. We're thankful for 26 days. This 26th day is special. Like every other day, we have gone everywhere across the FCT, where Mr. President has continued to provide unflappable support. We're thankful for rain, for those rains provide the farm produce. We're truly thankful for the sun, without which we do not have vitamin D and there will be no solar. We're thankful for good health, friends and family. We're thankful for the implementer-in-chief of Mr. President's renewed hope agenda in all the development infrastructural projects in the FCT, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, of course. Today, we are thankful for our guests, especially the judiciary, chief beneficiaries of this commissioning today. Permit me, therefore, now to welcome to the podium the head of service of the FCT, the very gentle Mrs. Nancy Nathan, to deliver the vote of thanks. I'd like to apologize to my brother, Ewedono. It is time now for us to invite a man with whom I've spent many years, who is very well known to my family and to my late father, the Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, Honorable Justice Hussaini Baba Yusuf, who is leading all other High Court judges of Abuja. Please come forward, sir. Thank you very much. Agba Wolodudu, Nago, Olale.
Very proud of you. Let me have this. The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, who is ably represented by my brother, Chief Lateef Olasunkom Ifagbemi SAN, Life Bencher, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Ezenwa Wike, Life Bencher, the Honorable the Grand Cadi of the Federal Capital Territory, Alhaji Imam Rufai, the President, Customary Court of Appeal, my Lord Justice Lawal Olakunle, very distinguished senators here present, other legal luminaries present, the honorable judges of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, all well seated, my brother Chief Ogo Onoja SAN, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is with profound gratitude and deep sense of duty that I extend warm greetings to all distinguished guests who have joined us here today to witness and celebrate this historic occasion of the presidential commissioning of the FCT High Court Judges' Quarters. Less than 2 years ago, we converged on this ground for the historic flag-off ceremony of this milestone, and today, in less than 2 years, we are gathered here again, yet again, to witness its official commissioning. What started as a vision nurtured and driven by relentless dedication of the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory has finally unfolded into something extraordinary. This landmark intervention, and indeed the industry deployed towards its accelerated delivery, stand as a living proof of what is possible when determination meets purpose. For us in the FCT High Court, there is no doubt that today's ceremony is more than a mere commissioning of physical structures. It is for the most part a celebration of a deliberate investment in the dignity of judicial office, the welfare of judges, and a profound testament to the abiding belief that dispensation of justice, being a bedrock of our cherished democracy must never be plagued by poor living conditions and anxieties associated with post-service life. The strength of every democratic society rests upon strong institutions, and amongst those institutions, the judiciary occupies a unique place and entrusted with the solemn duty of interpreting the law, protecting rights, resolving disputes, restraining arbitrariness, and preserving the balance upon which democratic governance rests. For judges to discharge this onerous duty with courage, independence, and clarity of mind, their welfare and working conditions must receive consistent and practical attention. This project therefore speaks to a fundamental truth. The welfare of judicial officers is not a privilege. It is an institutional necessity that promotes stability, enhances productivity, safeguards personal security, and preserves the dignity that must accompany judicial office. A supportive environment for the bench is inseparable from an effective rule of law, and this project embodies the convergence of infrastructural foresight with effective administration of justice. The provision of these quarters also stands as a significant contribution to judicial independence. It reminds us that judicial independence is not sustained by constitutional declarations alone, but also strengthened when judicial officers are provided with institutional support, adequate infrastructure, proper tools of work, dignified welfare arrangements, and other working conditions that enable them to perform their adjudicative responsibilities efficiently, courageously, and with complete fidelity to the rule of law. This project is therefore a meaningful addition to that architecture. On behalf of the judges, management, and entire staff of the judiciary of the Federal Capital Territory, I express our deep appreciation to His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, for his invaluable support and commitment to the independence of the judiciary. Your Excellency's support for this project underscores the importance of your administration attaches to justice sector reform, institutional strengthening, and the welfare of those entrusted with the sacred duty of adjudication. We acknowledge also with sincere gratitude the vision, dedication, and support of His Excellency Chief Barrister Ezenwa Nyesom Wike, CON, Life Bencher, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, for your many efforts in conceiving and bringing this important project to completion. This type of virtues can only belong to a man with a good and undiluted mind. As beneficiaries of this laudable initiative, we do not take this gesture for granted. We receive it with humility, gratitude, and renewed commitment to duty. It is worthy to note, and I am indeed happy, that this largesse is also being extended to the Court of Appeal, Federal High Court, body of benchers, the Nigerian Law School, and many other institutions. Just last month, Your Excellency also inaugurated the construction of flag-off of houses for the National Industrial Court and the Code of Conduct Tribunal. I wish to use this important gathering to appeal to Your Excellency that as we continue this good work, the Sharia Court of Appeal and the Customary Court of Appeal, which together with the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory constitute the judiciary of the FCC, be considered and carried along. We assure Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, and the good people of the Federal Capital Territory that the High Court will continue to uphold the Constitution, dispense justice without fear or favor, affection, or ill will, and pursue excellence in the justice delivery. This commissioning comes at a time when the demands on the courts continue to expand. As a seat of government and a meeting point of diverse interests, institutions and communities, businesses and agencies, the Federal Capital Territory places a considerable responsibility on the courts. The High Court of the Federal Capital Territory remains committed to maintaining social order, protecting rights, enforcing obligations, strengthening case management, reducing delays, and sustaining public confidence in the rule of law. We shall continue to deepen reforms aimed at improving access to justice, promoting accountability, and enhancing the efficiency of the judicial process. These interventions strengthens our resolve to do more in service of justice and the rule of law. Your Excellency, my noble lords, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the commissioning of these judges' quarters is a memorable milestone in the continuing development of the FCT judiciary. It will be remembered not merely for the buildings erected, but for the message it conveys. The welfare of judges matter, that the administration of justice matters, and that the rule of law remains central to good governance. Today's ceremony also represents a worthy partnership between the executive and the judiciary in pursuit of common constitutional objectives, order, and good governance. When institutions of the state one another within the bounds of supports one another within the bounds of constitutional responsibility, the ultimate beneficiary is the good people of this country. Once again, I'd like to thank His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who has given the Honorable Minister the opportunity and free hand to do the good job that he's doing for the people of the Federal Capital Territory. There is no doubting the fact that your coming has witnessed tremendous change in the way the affairs of the Federal Capital Territory has been carried out and executed. You are a source of pride to us, and I'd like to thank you and congratulate you that you have the capacity, the knowledge of the job, and the willpower to do what you are doing. We do believe that for us in the Federal Capital Territory, Your Excellency has not finished. You will continue to take us from place to place until you get the judiciary of your dream. May the FCT judiciary continue to grow in strength, dignity, efficiency, and service to the good people of this country. I thank you, Your Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief, for finding time to be here and deeming it important to commission the thing through no other person than my brother and the Chief Law Officer of the Federation, Mr. Lateef Olatunkomi Fagbemi. May God bless all of you, distinguished senators, and we have many of them present with us. It's a showing of the fact that you love the Federal Capital Territory judiciary, and I must thank you and assure you that we will only do those things that are permitted by the law, and we never disappoint you. Thank you all for coming.
Indeed, the Chief Judge, High Court of the FCT, Honorable Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf, has delivered his intervention. And part of that commentary is that they receive with humility and gratitude this set of 20 number houses. And he adds that they will continue to give their strength to the work that they have been given, and that the strength of every democracy are strong institutions, amongst them the judiciary. Let's hear another round of applause for him, please. Thank you very much. May I reiterate my apology. To err is human, to forgive is divine, and that skip was unintentional. We thank you. We thank you for your intervention. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I know many young people who would be seeing these houses on social media and be saying, I need to be a lawyer like tomorrow because I want to live in these houses. They forget the fat books that judges have to read, staying up all night to provide judgment and to read the case so deep that they know it back to back. They also forget that there is a process, that to become a judge, you don't become a lawyer today and become a judge tomorrow. We will continue to teach the ones who are coming behind us that there is a process to everything. These buildings, they didn't just wake up and spring up. There was a process before it became this beautiful. And for that, at this moment, we would like to now invite the head of service of the FCT, Mrs. Nancy Nathan, to come forward now and deliver her vote of thanks.
The President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, ably represented by the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef O. Fagbemi, SAN. Distinguished Senators and Honorable Members of the National Assembly, serving and former, His Excellency, the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Dr. Ezenwoye Wike, CON, Chief Judge of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, Honorable Justice Hussaini Baba Yusuf, all judges and heads of court, friends and associates of the Honorable Minister, Executive Chairman of the Area Council, senior officials of the Federal Capital Territory and Federal Capital Territory Development Authority, heads of security present, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense joy and deep gratitude to God that I stand to deliver this vote of thanks at the successful commissioning of the 20-number quarters for judges of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. First, we give thanks to God Almighty for granting us the opportunity to witness this landmark event and for His protection over the Federal Capital Territory. On behalf of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, I extend our heartfelt gratitude to the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, for gracing this occasion and inaugurating these quarters. Your presence and commitment to strengthening our legal and judicial infrastructure affirm deep respect for the rule of law and the independence of judiciary. This noble investment in the welfare of our judges is another shining testament to your unwavering commitment to national development and institutional excellence. We sincerely appreciate the members of the National Assembly for their support and diligent oversight, which have been instrumental in facilitating this project. Our profound gratitude goes to the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Barrister Dr. Ezenwoye Wike, CON, Life Bencher, and to the Honorable Minister of State, Dr. Maria Mahmoud, whose exceptional leadership, tireless dedication, and remarkable execution of Mr. President's vision continue to redefine the landscape of Federal Capital Territory. Your Excellency, sir, your passion for excellence has accelerated infrastructure delivery and restored public confidence in the capacity of government to deliver transformative projects. To the judiciary, judges, magistrate, and judicial staff, thank you for your steadfast service and sacrifice in upholding Nigerians' law. We trust that these residencies will provide not only comfort, but also the serenity and inspiration required to continue dispensing justice with courage, integrity, wisdom, and impartiality. Our appreciation equally goes to the staff of the Federal Capital Territory and our stakeholders, the contractors, development partners, community leaders, security agency, media, the protocol team, and all distinguished guests whose presence has added color and significance to this occasion. We also thank the friends of the Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory and the many supporters of this administration for their encouragement and confidence in the continued delivery of impactful projects across the Federal Capital Territory. As an administration, we reaffirm our commitment to providing quality services and sustainable development to the residents. We will continue to work diligently to implement projects that will meet the aspiration of our people and fulfill our mandate. Thank you all for coming. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless the Federal Capital Territory. Thank you.
Head of Service of the FCT, Mrs. Nathan. We thank you so very much for that vote of thanks, which already indicates to us that the assignment of restoring confidence in government's ability to provide infrastructure has been put at the door of the FCT, and they have done an excellent job of it across board. Thank you very much for your vote of thanks. Our special guest of honor, sir, President of the Federal Republic, represented by Attorney General, Minister of Justice, our chief host, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, our esteemed invited guests. One morning, I arrived at one of the commissioning locations 3 hours early and found an unexpected disaster. The rain had destroyed the carpets, all drenched. The canopies had been carried by a storm and deposited in a gully under a bridge. And it was still raining. It looked completely impossible to fix. The contractor brought a rig to pull out the tents from inside the gully. The event planners dried out the carpets, rejigged. The protocol staff realigned the seats, and the chief of staff was all over the place trying to ensure that everything is well fixed, considering that he's chairman organizing committee. But when everybody arrived for the event, everywhere looked serene and normal. When you walk with His Excellency, the Honorable Minister of the FCT, there is no excuse. It doesn't matter if the storm carried everything here. When he arrives, he wants to see that everybody understands that everything must look normal. And on that day, it did. Nobody knows behind the scenes of these commissionings. Nobody knows the behind the scenes of the Honorable Minister's inspection, his many late-night discourses with contractors, his attention to detail, his engagement with his staff. These conversations are sometimes very pleasant, and other times they're very hard, because the Honorable Minister of FCT insists that the job must be done and must be very well done. And the man said in one of the commissionings, when they asked me what did I do for my constituency when I was there, what am I to say? There is no doubt that he has done not just for his constituency, for other constituencies across board, delivering on promise, road after road, building after building. For a man whose greatest interest, thank you, you may clap. For a man whose greatest interest is how he can better residents and citizens of the FCT, strictly following the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President, welcome with me, please, Mr. Project, Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, Honorable Minister of the FCT.
Your Excellency, Mr. President, ably represented by the Honorable Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Prince Lateef Fagbemi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Life Bencher, distinguished senators here present, former Deputy Speaker, House of Representatives, and members of the House of Representatives that are here, my Lord, the Chief Judge of the FCT High Court, the Grand Cardinal of the Sharia Court of Appeal, and the President Customary Court of Appeal, judges of the FCT High Court, and other heads of courts that are here, our political leaders of various political parties that are here, the mandate secretaries, permanent secretaries, acting head of service, Executive Secretary of CDA, Chief of Staff, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, today is the 26th day of commissioning of projects to mark your 3rd year anniversary. Today is another promise made and promise kept. sorry, I forgot to recognize my friend, the Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Ogu Onoja, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. If there's one thing I do know that Mr. President has thought about is to how to improve the welfare, the security of the judicial officers, and how they can operate independently and perform their functions effectively. And so when we were inaugurated as ministers, I do know that Mr. President invited the Honorable Attorney General and my humble self to say that, look, yes, we have all the things we have itemized to do, but one of it is the independence of the judiciary. And how would that be? First of all, you have to improve their welfare. Secondly, you have to protect and give them security like we're talking about now. You go to most places where our judges are living, you don't even know whether they're living around armed robbers, even those that they are handling their cases. And so it has been the directive of Mr. President, something has to be done. And that is why we have to go strictly trying to provide the division, Court of Appeal division, and residencies for the justices of Court of Appeal that are in the FCT. Also the same thing for the justices of judges of the Federal High Court. Of course, the FCT High Court is like our own court directly. Like our own court directly. So we don't expect that they should have the same. Certainly not. That's why we provided 20 for them and then tried to intervene in the other courts. So we are very proud to be here today to see that this assignment that was that took off sometime about 1.5 years ago, like my Lord the Chief Judge said. You know, one thing I found out is that when contracts are awarded, there's always this belief that it will not be completed, that it will be abandoned projects. And I have said, we will not award contracts when there are no funds. That will not be done. Before contracts are awarded, we'll make sure there are funds to fund such projects. We have not only stopped at the residences. I know before the end of the year, we would have handed over to the FCT, to the Chief Judge, 3 structures for judges' courts and the magistrate courts, so that they'll be able to carry out their work very efficiently. And what it happens, that the Chief Judge will handle this. And there's nobody that will be here that will not want to have a space. And so I've been thinking, how would you handle it? I'm sure that most of your colleagues are waiting if you make any mistake. I do know you will not make mistake. The right thing must be done. I was discussing with one of the judges who incidentally from my state, and he said, look, all our minds are here. I said, what do you mean by that? He said, as you leave, we are packing it to our houses. I said, on what basis? He said, on owner occupy. I said, okay. And then when I was governor, I did that because I was governor. But now I'm a minister under somebody. I must seek the approval. Luckily, the Attorney General is there. And that's what it's supposed to be, that the houses be owner-occupier basis. And we can assure you, with the support of Mr. Attorney General, that that approval will be gotten. And again, we're not going to stop here. We're going to build more houses for the judges of the FCT. I know that the number is such that we can't carry all at the same time. I believe that before the first tenure of Mr. President expires, we would have gone far in the construction of 20 more houses for the judges of the FCT High Court. But you see, I have to say this. You know, in every position we occupy, you are bound to have criticisms. Leadership is not easy. Leadership is not only when things are good. Leadership is also when things are bad. Where you have now, I'm sure most of you would have read in social media when I was being accused of grabbing land. This is part of the land I was grabbing. It's part of the land I was grabbing. You know, when you're in a position and you want to do the right thing, people will come out to say all kinds of things. But for us, we must continue to be focused and do our job. When I came here, this was Julius Berger's land, and there are no roads. And then I asked Julius Berger, you have had this land for how many years? Over 30 years. So what are you waiting for? He said there are no infrastructure. As a company like you, no infrastructure, no problem. I've taken the land back for overriding public interest. And then I called the CGC to come and do all the roads here. And before you knew it, houses have started springing up. I'm happy that the contractor has done a good job. I'm sure when you have the opportunity to go into one of the houses and see the level of furnishing, you will be happy. But again, if it becomes your personal property, it will be necessary that if somebody comes here, it should look this way, not where you will see refuse everywhere. It's disheartening that government will spend money and build for public officers. The next thing you see, you say, we regret doing that. I don't think that is necessary. We must make sure that if it becomes our wish, we pray it should, and we're going to work very hard to make sure that we get that presidential approval. But if I was the governor, I would as well just announce it immediately. But somebody appointed me to work on his behalf. There are things I cannot just say, even though I'm in support of it. I have somebody who will support me always when it concerns matters of welfare of our judicial officers. So please, I beg you, if you are privileged to be one of those that will occupy these houses, please let it be the next 6 months when any of us will have the opportunity to even visit. Let it also look nice and and attractive. So, Mr. President, on this note, I invite you to come and commission this project and talk to the judicial officers to the glory of God. Thank you. God bless you.
Please, let's have our seats. Thank you. The Honorable Minister of Federal Capital Territory, Chief Nyesom Wike, CON, Live Venture, members of the National Assembly here present, and I recognize the former Deputy Speaker, my noble Lord, the Honorable, the Chief Judge of Federal Capital Territory, Honorable Justice Hussein Baba Yusuf, my Lord, the Grand Cadi of Sharia Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Ibrahim Rufai Imam, President Customary Court of Appeal, Honorable Justice Stanley Adekunle, other heads of court here present, my very noble lords, judges of the High Court of Federal Capital Territory and other jurisdictions here present, members or judges of the Sharia Court of Appeal and Customary Court of Appeal of Federal Capital Territory, my very good friend, learned brother of the Silk, Chief Onoja, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Head of Service of the Federal Capital Territory, Lady Nancy Nathan, the Chief of Staff, Executive Chairman of the Area Council, Mandate Secretary, the Permanent Secretary, staff of the Federal Capital Development Authority, my very good sister, Professor Eugenia Abu, members of the Fourth Estate of the Realm, ladies and gentlemen. It is with immense pride that I stand before you once again here in Katampe district of the Federal Capital Territory to commission these 20 newly completed residential accommodations for judges of the Federal Capital Territory High Court. Today marks the 26th day of continuous commissioning of qualitative, impactful, and high-profile and capital-intensive projects undertaken by the Federal Capital Territory Administration under the indefatigable leadership of Honorable Minister Nyesom Wike CON, Life Venture. Today's event, therefore, is not merely the unveiling of another building. It is a testament to a deliberate and sustained commitment to strengthening one of the vital pillars of our democracy, that is the judiciary. When we embarked on the Renewed Hope agenda 3 years ago, we promised to rebuild institutional trust, secure our nation, and ensure that the rule of law is neither compromised nor delayed. Today, with the commissioning of these 20 units of FCT High Court judges' quarters, we take another definitive, tangible steps towards fulfilling that promise. This commissioning does not stand alone. It is part of a broader, deliberate intervention by my administration. Earlier in this season of commissioning projects executed by the FCT administration, we handed over 10 units of similarly world-class residential quarters for judges of the Court of Appeal and another 10 for judges of the Federal High Court, all here in Katampe. We also commissioned the first phase of the 10 units for lecturers and staff of the Nigerian Law School, and the second phase has commenced in earnest. We also held groundbreaking ceremonies for residential quarters for judges of the National Industrial Court and the Code of Conduct Tribunal. Today, it is the turn of the Federal Capital Territory High Court judges. I am aware of media commentary from certain quarters suggesting that the FCT administration's provision for judges' quarters is intended to exert improper influence on the judiciary. I ask simply, did those same critics level that charge against the 10 staff quarters recently commissioned for lecturers of the Nigerian Law School, with more still promised? If every act of infrastructural provision is to be read as a corrupting influence, then even decent housing for our law lecturers will fall under this suspicion. That cannot be a fair standard. And for the opt-in time, I say that this is an intervention project and has nothing to do with the project or budget of the judiciary, which is intact and is ongoing and is respected. I will nonetheless be candid. Such interventions do exert influence. I agree. The real question is what kind of influence these facilities are meant to inspire. Commitment, free our judicial officers to focus on their solemn duties to preserve the rule of law, enable them to adjudicate without discomfort, and provide the fulfillment and security that allow them to give their very best to the nation. And that is the type of influence that these projects are meant to exert. Taken together, these projects send a clear message or signal that this government is committed to the comfort, security, and protection of our judicial officers and to safeguarding the independence of the judiciary as a whole. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we often speak of judicial independence in abstract terms, but independent thinking requires an independent and secure environment. We cannot expect judges to dispense justice without fear or favor if their basic comfort, security, and peace of mind are left to chance. True judicial independence is built on the dignity of our judicial officers. By providing these state-of-the-art residential quarters across multiple courts, we ensure that our judges and justices work from a place of security, comfort, and utmost dignity. This is a deliberate shield against vulnerability, a statement that Nigeria values those who interpret our laws. At this juncture, I must pause to salute the tireless, dynamic, and unapologetically focused Honorable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, CON. The transforming Abuja into a capital that reflects our national ambition is a demanding task. Through steady execution and close attention to detail, the Honorable Minister and his team have turned plans into structures and serve our judges, our citizens, and future of this country, of this city. I also express my deep appreciation to the leadership of the judiciary. The collaboration between the executive and the judiciary under this administration remains a proud example of intergovernmental harmony for collective good of our people. These staff quarters are part of a broader strategy, practical, tangible support aimed at ensuring that our judicial system operates effectively and sustainably. To our lordships who will occupy these quarters, this country looks up to you as you provide infrastructure to make our lives easier and your service safer. We only ask in return for your unwavering commitment to the swift, fair, and transparent dispensation of justice, not favor for government undeservedly. Let it be a daily reminder of the trust the nation has placed in you. Let these homes be center of deep reflection, integrity, and honor. Let the judgments that emanate from your minds continue to strengthen the fabric of our democracy. On that note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is now my singular honor and privilege to officially commission the 20-unit judges' quarters for Federal Capital Territory High Court judges here in Katampe District, to the glory of Almighty God and for the service of humanity and justice in Nigeria. I want to thank you all for listening to me, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Now for the official commissioning of 20-number judges' quarters for FCT High Court judges in Katampe. His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, represented by the Attorney General, is being led by the Honorable Minister of the FCT to inspect the houses and to do the honors of the commissioning. Please keep the music down so we can hear them from over there.
What to the glory of God, the comfort of our judges, and the smooth administration of justice, it is my honor and privilege to declare or cut the tape. Thank you.